to directly ameliorate the conditions of race hierarchy becomes, in conservative hands, an amendment that says it's illegal to try to directly ameliorate the conditions of race hierarchy. There you go. There you go. In a country where a segregated school system still absolutely exist, in a country where the real inequality stems from legacy admissions in college campuses and not necessarily like a little bit of a helping hand to ensure that the student body looks more like the diverse American society, right? Which has demonstrably positive impacts on learning, okay? And education in a multicultural society. These guys went ahead and were like, nah, fuck that, dude. We don't want this shit. We don't want it at all. So the Supreme Court has ruled that affirmative action policies in UNC and Harvard are unconstitutional according to the 14th Amendment. Okay? Where are the originalists now, trying to apply the meaning of the amendment at the time it was written? Exactly. Well, I've already told you that originalists or textualists are absolutely just racist, reactionary pieces of shit that try to add an intellectual patina to their analysis when their analysis is just fucking racism or whatever the Republican body demands of that moment. My comment you read earlier was worded poorly. I meant to point out how fucked up it is that SCOTUS thinks affirmative action is an equal protections violation, but drawing district lines to dilute racial voting blocks is totally fine. Awkward. Supreme Court rules against affirmative action with affirmative action hire sitting right there. Wow, that's fun. Yeah. Ketanji Brown Jackson has done more in her fucking life has done more in her pinky than like the entire fucking Babylon B cast. Like, Jesus Christ. That's very gross. But you know, I expect that. She's also one of the more qualified Supreme Court justices, if there is such a qualification that's necessary. Here.
I think we need to talk about white women. I think we need to talk about white women and white women's role and where we find ourselves at today in society. And I don't mean that as an indictment of you white women, but I mean that like y'all need to call a fucking meeting and convene amongst yourselves, because this isn't actually the rest of us problem or anything the rest of us could do. Because white women are the only marginalized or minority group in their mind that vote overwhelmingly Republican. Y'all are the only ones voting in service or better yet, in disservice of your own interests. Because at the end of the day, right, white women have voted Republican. White women, shoot, depending on how you slice it, it's white women's fault if you think about it as RBG should have retired when people asked her to, or it's white women's fault when you think about who the fuck they voted for, right? But white women are the reason why fucking Roe and abortion is no longer a right, which again impacts them most. And same thing now with affirmative action, which again impacts them. Here's the thing: America's a racist country, so things will disproportionately impact Black, brown, and marginalized people. But the reality is, white women treat abortion as their flagship issue. They act like that's the epitome of a white feminist issue. But look at them, overwhelmingly. Anyway, y'all, way, Amy Coney Barrett, RBG. That's for them to reconcile amongst themselves. But then a lesser known fact is that affirmative action policies have benefited white women more than any other demographic. More than any other demographic. And yet, so listen, again, anyway, white women gotta go talk to them. They gotta go get y'all's girls together. And before anybody say anything, Clarence Thomas is not one of ours, okay? Don't say, but Clarence Thomas, yes, Clarence Thomas is a coon ass. He is one of y'all. Let him tell it. He belongs to y'all.
Clarence Thomas is a very interesting figure, obviously. Here's Corey Robbins' analysis. Pages 56 and 58 of Thomas's opinion in the affirmative action case to get the heart of his worldview. Clarence Thomas believes black people should go to black schools. If you look at what black schools did under Jim Crow, you find Clarence Thomas's vision of a black future in America. A chapter of my book on Thomas and affirmative action is called Separate But Equal. I think it's no exaggeration to claim that Thomas takes his inspiration from Jim Crow. If you don't believe me, read footnote 12 on P57, page 57 on his affirmative action opinion today. Yeah, Clarence Thomas is a firm believer. Clarence Thomas is a firm believer of, like, I've said this before. He's like a black nationalist, segregationist who has no belief in the system. I think this was elaborated on further in the famous Chapo episode that I'm sure many of you have listened to. It's not. Clarence Thomas is probably the most interesting Supreme Court justice. No, it's not just that, saying he's a dumb fuck or saying it's like Uncle Ruckus doesn't arrive at the actual opinion, because he does have certain black nationalist roots in his like intellectual development, which is part of the reason why he has like very odd takes on certain matters. Dr. Umar would like to have a word with him. I mean, his wife is white, so that also presents. It's similar to Dr. Umar in some respects, certainly, but also, again, his wife is white, so like that also plays another role in like how much of an enigma he is. You know what I mean? I'm not even kidding. I think Alexa is whistling upstairs, like singing a song while whistling. I think his odd takes and inconsistency are just because he's dumb, no ideology, too stupid. Listen to him talk. Guy has rocks in his brain. I believe I learned from Mike from PA that Clarence is a black defeatist. He thinks you can never change white people's minds on racism, so give up and fall in line. It's not necessarily that he believes in giving up and falling in line. I think he legitimately, kind of like Thomas Sowell, who is also not great, really bad overall. Every racist's favorite black intellectual, Thomas Sowell, he believes that capitalism, black capitalism, is a reverse Fred Hampton. Black capitalism is the only way for black people's emancipation. Thomas Sowell is also every libertarian's favorite economist. Yeah, Thomas Sowell is a person who has allowed, not that like white people need this allowance, but like has given more ammo to white racists in feeling emboldened about their white supremacist positions, because they can always turn around and say, look, there's a famous black economist that agrees with me. What the fuck are you talking about? And liberals have no counter to that. Kind of like Jay-Z and Killer Mike. I wouldn't say Jay-Z and Killer Mike are at that level, but Jay-Z and Killer Mike are in their political journey have arrived at like a similar perspective. Not as bad as like Clarence Thomas, obviously. Okay, but outside of Clarence Thomas, who has been vying for the opportunity to fucking eviscerate affirmative action, you know, let's cover the actual heart of the matter here. President Biden gave remarks on the Supreme Court's ruling on affirmative action. Let's start there.
For 45 years, the United States Supreme Court has recognized the college's freedom to decide how to build diverse student bodies and to meet their responsibility of opening doors of opportunity for every single American. In case after case, including recently, just as a few years ago in 2016, the court has affirmed and reaffirmed this view, that colleges could use race not as a determinative factor for admission, but as one of the factors among many in deciding who to admit from a already qualified pool of applicants. Today, the court once again walked away from decades of precedent and as the dissent has made clear. The dissent states in today's decision, quote, rolls back decades of precedent and momentous progress, end of quote. I agree with that statement from the dissent. The court has effectively ended affirmative action in college admissions, and I strongly disagree with the court's decision. Because affirmative action is so misunderstood, I want to be clear, make sure everybody's clear about what the law has been and what it has not been until today. Many people wrongly believe that affirmative action allows unqualified students to be admitted ahead of qualified students. This is not how college admissions work. Rather, colleges set out standards for admission, and every student has to meet those standards. Then and only then, after first meeting the qualifications required by the school, do colleges look at other factors in addition to their grades, such as race. The way it works in practice is that
I love people getting so fucking mad about this, but it's literally true. Okay? It's true. College campuses, just like any other fucking institution, absolutely have the opportunity to say and did have all of the fucking all of the freedom to say, we want a diverse body that represents the American diversity. Like, we want to recreate a multicultural society in our little ecosystem, right? That, we believe, is really important in formative years for development. That's it. It's ridiculous to be like, nah, dog, you're not allowed to do that, actually. Like, it has to be fucking SATs only. As though the SATs are like a good indication. As though any of you dumb motherfuckers are going to get into these schools anyway. Shut the fuck up. Jesus Christ. Okay? If your attitude is like, well, technically, like, I believe in a meritocratic approach, which, you know, no such thing really exists, okay? If that's what you truly believe, then eviscerate legacy admissions, okay? Eviscerate legacy admissions. That's why you're dumb, okay? You're dumb for getting upset about this or celebrating this decision, thinking that it's going to change anything dramatically in anyone's lives, when legacy admissions are right there and infinitely more significant, okay? I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and 43% of white people that are admitted to Harvard are either legacy parents or that are faculty or family that has donated to college. Yeah. Hasan, I regret to tell you that you have anti-Asian politics. Your recent report on Asia and Asian-related news has been horrible. Why can't we do the two things at the same time? They are not mutually exclusive. Wait, you think I'm anti-Asian politics because I think the Supreme Court decision... Wait, what are the things that I did that were anti-Asian? Is it Shine? Is it because I said the Sheen factory conditions are actually not in the way that they're representing it when they did that dumbass PR marketing? Is that what you're saying? How much... Dude, I'm sorry. There is nothing more annoying to me than fucking first generation, second generation, third generation Asian motherfuckers who are dogs to white people, okay? You are literally barking for white people. Shut the fuck up, okay? They do not give a fuck about you, dumbass. Shut up. Shut up. This entire affirmative action thing being like, oh, well, this is actually a really important day for Asian people. Like, we should be celebrating it. That entire institution that brought this up to the Supreme Court is led by white people. They just put Asian people in the front because they realized if they were doing it for white people, then it would have been demonstrably white supremacists, and people would have said, oh, this is fucking bullshit. Get the fuck out of here. So what did? They turned around and they put a bunch of Asian dudes in the front as props. And some of you dumb motherfuckers ate that propaganda hook, line, and sinker. Okay? It's so dumb. See, you're doing it. Suck my dick, dumbass. This guy's literally like, no, I am the model minority. Yeah, okay, dude. No, you don't understand. The model minority myth is not a myth. I literally am that. I love math. I'm so Asian. I love math. Please. Is that what you're going to say next? Dumbass. Shut the fuck up. Come on. Go ahead. Come on. Give me what I'm doing here that you think is anti-Asian. Talking about affirmative action and you said yesterday that manji is one direction and swastika is another. That's why I'm anti-Asian? Oh, brother. Correct. I'm an Asian with a sweaty gene and it sucks. Lol. East Asians have different front teeth too, inner side of the teeth. Chad is so delusional. Okay, so you're agreeing with me, so I was right about that. Chad, stop being so Eurocentric challenge. Why are Chad surprised with the Asian part? We were constantly threatened in public transport. By the way, I don't agree with what the killer did. Why are people so true about this woman? Even spend time on this argument? This motherfucker's only... Why should Asians lose under affirmative action, though? So what? Benefit white women the most. Motherfucker, get into Berkeley then. Okay? Suck my dick. Get into Berkeley. Go get into Berkeley. Go get into any of the fucking University of California schools then. Okay? Shut the fuck up. There's plenty of schools you can get into. I want to know your GPA. Since the peak of desegregation for black students in 1988, the share of intensely segregated minority schools, that is, schools that enroll 90 to 100% non-white students, has more than tripled from 5.7% in 1988 to 18.2% in 2016, harming our common future. America's segregated schools 65 years after Brown. This shit is getting worse. To pretend that we are in a post-racial world is ridiculous. The least we can do is provide a Band-Aid. Exactly. Hey, you want to know what's great? At least you could tell your disappointed parents that you couldn't get into fucking Harvard and Yale because you're Asian. Now you don't have that. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do now? Now you just couldn't get in because you're a dumbass, okay? At least you had that. You could have just been like, oh, well, I'm Asian. They're discriminating against me. Now you don't even have that. You're fucked. You got no excuse. The entire conversation quite literally fucking started with a white guy, okay? A white guy and his organization decided the best way to sell this to Americans is not by focusing on anti-blackness or focusing on any kind of other considerations, but instead focusing on fairness, because Americans love the notion of a meritocracy and a meritocratic process, okay? That's what it is. It's the same shit with like trans students playing fucking high school basketball or whatever, high school wrestling. It's the same concept, okay? Reverse transphobic sentiment into a conversation that revolves around this idea of fairness. Reverse affirmative action, which is a Band-Aid solution and certainly not a successful one, all that successful one, really. It was just like marginally drip feeding more black people into the upper echelon of like professional managerial class positions, like slowly but surely. Just a couple extra black people, okay? That's what it was slated to do. That's what it was doing. White Americans would have never allowed any sort of like real fucking restitution. They would never allow reparations. You know what I mean? So they just did this. And then, you know, even that was too much. So we rolled it all the way the fuck back, you know? UC enrollment demographics. Yeah, University of California doesn't have, what do you call it? They don't have the, they only do statistical aptitude tests, right? They don't have like any kind of consideration. They struck it down. There's no affirmative action in the UC system in the state of California. They do comprehensive analysis, but they do not factor in race at all. Admission staff should take into account the effect of race on their lives rather than trying to hit a quota. There exists a leftist argument in support of affirmative action in this decision. Yeah, I mean, that's what it is here. Race-conscious admissions are on a stronger footing than ever. The new rules for race-conscious admissions actually seem more in line with the left-wing rationales for affirmative action. These rationales are focused on the ways in which past and present racial oppression has affected people's lives, necessitating a race-conscious remedy in the form of affirmative action. Except that is how affirmative action has always been perceived. Okay? It's not necessarily just racial quotas, but the way that they fucking allow certain groups of people that wouldn't fucking hit the statistical aptitude test requirements that everyone else has was literally this. How has race factored into their personal lives? That's why they call it a holistic approach. But motherfuckers have lied and literally made it seem like, no, it's just a quota. It's just a quota. It's just a quota. They're just taking like a fucking 2.5 GPA black student and like plucking them into Harvard as though that is the case. No. Bro, I fundamentally agree with the concept of affirmative action, but I go to a T10 school, and from what I see, many of the students who could benefit from affirmative action are wealthy black families and or esteemed immigrant families. I know this is a sensitive topic, but is there a way to do affirmative action based on class as opposed to race? We're never getting anything. We're never getting anything based on class, okay? If anything, if you want to abolish, again, if you want to create true meritocracy, then you have to literally destroy legacy admissions. You won't. That is the most classist one out there. No more gifting fucking library wings to Harvard and Yale. No more legacy admissions that factor into your consideration, right? And even then, why would you assume those black people are there due to affirmative action? Isn't that racist? Obviously, not every single black person that's gotten into one of these institutions is there because they benefited from affirmative action. That is a racist take. You're absolutely correct on that. What people love to point out is the averages, like the average GPA or the average SAT score, as though those two are the only reasons why people get into fucking college, okay? That's not how that works. That's never been how any of this works, but they have basically whittled it down to that, okay? It's not just extracurriculars. It is how race and your socioeconomic status, oftentimes tied to your racial background, has carved your personal experiences. Okay? These are all woke schools, so I don't know why Republicans care. First of all, they're not. Let's be fucking real. There is no fucking wokeness in Harvard, okay? These are the war crime schools. Let's be fucking very real about that. Yeah, these woke ass war criminal schools, man, is my favorite. Anyway. Oh, by the way, they have a caveat footnote. The ban on considering race in admissions does not apply to military academies. Interesting. Anyway. Yeah, woke ass military, baby. It's because gay General Mark Milley, they them military. It's because gay General Mark Milley wants a they them military that's full of other races, non-whites. That's the problem. That's what's going on here, folks. Stay woke. Be aware of it. Is there any data that actually shows going to these Ivy schools benefit your career outlook? Like, there may be correlation to the most Ivy kids being rich, trust fund babies. Yes, going to Harvard definitely gives you an advantage because college isn't like the best at educating you. You can learn. It's about networking. If you have worked your fucking ass off and have basically squeezed your way into Harvard without any sort of like legacy admissions help, you are now sitting next to oil barons' children, okay? All of a sudden, your homies from college are the ones who are flying around the world in private jets, whose parents are fucking trust fund children, who have a maximum amount of intergenerational wealth. These are the people that will offer you job opportunities down the line. You get to network with the wealthiest people on the fucking planet. That is profoundly important. That's how that's how you get a job. There is no real, in this day and age, there is no real meritocracy. There's never really been a real meritocracy, okay? We're not in fucking China. All right? We don't live in China. We don't live in Korea. We don't live in Japan. We don't have the same like interests in or thousands of years of tradition in like upward social mobility through our schooling system. If that was the case, then there would be a base level of material equality in schooling, no matter which fucking village you're from, okay? We don't have that shit. And now I wouldn't even say Japan and Korea have like the same principles, but let's be real. The only reason why getting into Harvard or getting into these top institutions is who else is there with you. Anything like that in Turkey? Yes. Turkey, for example, has better schooling in public institutions than private ones. Now, that might have changed, but when I was growing up, yes, you get tested in 8th grade. Okay? You choose whether you want a science focus or a like lit social sciences focus, right? And then in 8th grade, you get tested on it. And depending on your scoring, you can get into some of the top institutions in the country. And the top institutions in the country are free public education ones. And then moving forward from that, you do the same thing again in college. And that system is not great either, for the record. Okul sistemi ülkede torpil olmayan tek yer. Hocalar mükemmel değil ama upwards mobility var cidden. Like, even that system is fundamentally flawed, okay? And even that system allows for wealthier parents to be able to offer more opportunities, okay? I'll give you an example. Myself, I was never the fucking scholar, okay? I was never a great scholar. I did not like school. I liked having fun. Not a big fan of studying. And I was certainly not good at test taking. But it didn't matter. I went to darsane, which are cram schools. They have it in Japan and China and Korea as well. This is a concept that we have in Turkey as well. It's called darsane, which is cram school. And you learn how to like do better in this test. You have to pay for it, right? You have to pay for that. Some people do not have the money to pay for it, right? My parents did, and I still didn't do that well in the 8th grade testing. So what happened? I went to a private school instead. I went to one of the top private schools in the fucking nation at the time, which offered a tremendous education for me. Why? Because my parents were rich. So there are still ways of getting around the meritocracy, even in the Turkish system. Okay? There's always ways. When there's a will, there's a way. When there's fucking wealth, there's a way. Rich parents, Pago. I mean, dude, what do you want me to do? Fucking lie to you? Like, I don't give a shit. I've never lied about my background, okay? I've never lied about my background. My parents were very affluent when I was growing up. It gave me a tremendous amount of fucking, it helped out a lot, okay? It helped out a lot. It did. Now, by the time I got to college, they had nothing left, but it doesn't matter because the benefits had already been baked in, okay? I still went to a great school. Gave me a lot of opportunity. Motherfucker went to Fethullah Gülen High? No, I went to Ted Ankara Koleji. Countries like China and Korea have a much greater focus on standardized testing in America, where SAT is a singular, albeit important factor in a holistic process. People study 10 hours a day for years for the Guao Kao, and dozens of people literally kill themselves each year in China because they didn't do well on it. Yeah. By the way, that Chinese standardized testing concept has existed for like thousands of fucking years too. Or the idea that like you can work for some form of like Chinese local government, and that is a way for you as a peasant to engage in some kind of upward social mobility. That is not like a new principle at all. This shit has existed for a very long time. Anyway. So, Chinese testing was Confucian in origin 2,500 years ago at least. Yes. It used to be a test for bureaucracy, okay? And that has continued into the private sector and also civil service now. But my point is, in America, we have a different process, okay? We don't have the same level of focus on standardized testing. And I don't even think that focus on standardized testing is good either. Okay? There shouldn't be... I've talked about this before. It's not... You don't hate nepotism, you hate capitalism. And nepotism is yet another example of capitalism in action, okay? You wouldn't give a shit about nepotism if you had the opportunity to work at whatever fucking job you wanted to. If your educational... background was relatively on even footing, regardless of your fucking financials in the beginning, okay? You just wouldn't care about that at all if you went and actually got a good job and you had job security and you had a meaningful future and you had some level of autonomy in the fucking workplace. You wouldn't give a shit if someone's uncle or someone's dad owned a fucking HVAC business that they ended up getting into. You know what I mean? That's like... That would not be a thing. You'd be like, yeah, of course people are going to fucking help their families out. Who gives a fuck? Or of course people are going to help their friends out. Who gives a shit? Would be your attitude. But the only reason why this is like seen as this like gross perversion is because capitalism comes with a false understanding of meritocracy, a lie that meritocracy is a real thing, right? That's why people get so fucking frustrated with this shit. You wouldn't give a fuck about legacy admissions in Harvard. Well, most people still don't. But people that understand the process wouldn't give a fuck about legacy admissions at Harvard if you could get a similar education and similar job opportunities, which you do get a similar education to Harvard in any fucking school, by the way. But job opportunities purely based on, your educational background rather than who you fucking know. Okay? None of these tests help evaluate when there's systemic barriers to adequate healthcare. I would have had a doctorate in pharmacy, 7 years of college, and just found out I have ADHD, which severely impacted my testing scores. That's why affirmative action is meant to be broader than tests. Yeah. Anyway, why is all this deferred to SCOTUS? Well, because that's what SCOTUS does. But you want a zit patch? I have it on my sink. You just put like a little patch and it like covers it. Yeah, in between my two sinks in my bathroom, you will find a fuckload of zit patches. Just put it on. Sinks? Yes. I know. It's a beacon of prosperity.
This. Colleges first established a qualified pool of candidates based on meeting certain grade, test scores, and other criteria. Then and only then, it is from this pool of applicants, all of whom have already met the school standards, that the class is chosen after weighing a wide range of factors, among them being race. You know, I've always believed that one of the greatest strengths of America, you're tired of hearing me say it, is our diversity. But I believe that. If you have any doubt about this, just look at the United States military, the finest fighting force in the history of the world. It's been a model of diversity, and it has not only made our nation better, stronger, but safer. I believe the same is true for our schools. I've always believed that the promise of America is big enough for everyone to succeed, and that every generation of Americans, we have benefited by opening the doors of opportunity just a little bit wider to include those who've been left behind. I believe our colleges are stronger when they're racially diverse. Our nation is stronger because we are tapping into the full range of talent in this nation. I also believe that while talent, creativity, and hard work are everywhere across this country, not equal opportunity. It is not everywhere across this country. We cannot let this decision be the last word. I want to emphasize, we cannot let this decision be the last word. While the court can render a decision, it cannot change what America stands for. America is an idea unique in the world, an idea of hope and opportunity, of possibilities, of giving everyone a fair shot, of leaving no one behind. We've never fully lived up to it, but we've never walked away from it either. We will not walk away from it now. We should never allow the country to walk away from the dream upon which it was founded. That opportunity is for everyone, not just a few. We need a new path forward, a path consistent with the law that protects diversity and expands opportunity. So today,
Chat, I think the bots left us. Finally. The bots might have gone bye-bye. Say bye to the bots, chat. Seems to me like we're at 43. We went from 43 to 33. Bye-bye, bots. Bye-bye. No more 50K Andy. What did Twitch say about the bots when you called? I didn't talk to Twitch about the bots. I was responding to something else that people were saying in the chat. And then that account on Twitter clipped it together as though I was talking. It was two separate things. I shot something for Twitch. That's why I was on a call with them, because I was doing a virtual shoot for them. Fell off, bro. Yeah. Fucking 33K, 30K Andy fell off. It's over. It's Jover. It's never been more Jover than it has. Why were there bots again? I have no idea. I don't know why anyone would like fucking buy view bots for someone else. Like, I don't understand that. At least the ad break's gonna be fat this month. No, man, bots don't get served fucking ads. I don't think that's how that works. Bro, those Ludwig numbers. Okay, first of all, let's not get ahead of ourselves. You know, all right, okay. Try and get you banned. Yeah, I don't know why they thought that would actually work. Like, why the fuck would Twitch be like, oh yeah, this guy who's like who's one of our top content creators on the platform, like went and botted his stream in the most obvious ways possible. And then also simultaneously it was this guy, Miskiff, Pokimane, and Kai Cenat, and Phantom. Like 5 people that have either refused to go to kick. Like, I'm not even saying they're the ones who did it, right? Or have like talked poorly about kick or whatever. And I don't even think like it was kick that did it, right? And I think Real Rage as well might have gotten botted too. Yeah, look at this. Kai is currently being view botted. He's not actually on 74K views. Kai Phantom and Hasan Pokimiski getting botted in the same week. Now I wonder who would do such a thing to them. You know what I mean? Like, it was very weird that the people that were getting botted were... I don't really know what the motivation would be, so I don't want to accuse anyone, but because it doesn't make a lot of sense. Only if you had some enemies that don't think things through, but also have a ton of money. Not sure. Yeah. It was like a gift. You know what I mean? It was like weird because like everyone understood that like we just didn't do it to ourselves randomly. And it was just like it inflated my numbers for no reason. You know what I mean? I mean, thanks, I guess. I don't fucking know. I don't know why you did it. It was to fuck up your user ratio. Make Twitch look like a less legitimate platform, maybe. Sounds like a gamble. Yeah, you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them, folks. Know when to walk away, know when to run. But thanks, I guess. I mean, it was fun while it lasted. Am I dumb for not understanding how viewbotting opposition hurts them? Is it just an attempt to frame you for viewbotting and get you banned? Yeah. Someone else viewbotting you can either be because like there's a fan who like wants you to look like you're, I don't know, doing better than you actually are. Or I guess like if it's from an antagonistic position, it's someone doing it to you because they think that like, you know, Twitch will take action against you because like the implication is you botted yourself. You know what I mean? Because obviously view bots are illegal. You get ad money from bots? No. I don't think you do. This is probably the work of a streamer you need to make because you're all dirty commies. Yeah. Does it put extra strain on your bandwidth? No. But it was odd. That's why I just don't know. I don't know. Like, I'm not even making I'm not making an assertion that it was like kick or some shit. Even though the people that were getting botted were like people that didn't go to kick, right? But I thought people were just hyped for the samurai stream like I was. No, I think there was a like around 20K inflation. I don't know if it was like a 20K inflation, but like we went from 43 to 30 now. Like it was like around 15K to 20K probably. Because throughout the entire process, I would check my chatters, and like right now, for example, I have there's no botting, right? We have 30K viewers. So we look at chatters to see how many active chatters there are. There are 25,317 active chatters, which means that like 25,317 people have like chatted in the chat. There's still like around 5,000 lurkers. Now that number can range from like 25 to 5 to 25 to 10 even, right? Depending on what I'm covering, how many people are watching on their TVs, how many people are watching on mobile, how many people are watching on their desktops. So right now that's like normal, right? 25K chatters to 30K viewers, that's normal. When I was at 50K, I had again 25 to 30K chatters, but then it was like 50K viewers. That's not normal. Check again. It doesn't update that fast. It's not active chatters, just logged in users. No way all 25K are chatting. Yeah, that's true, actually. I think it's more so just like logged in users who are watching. But if it's a big news day, then the lurker number skyrocket past the chatter count. This would be like for 100K plus streams. Yeah. But on a normal day, you know, it's on a regular old day, it's usually like I'm around 30, 35K with like, 25K plus active chatters. Does this happen alpha? No, it has never happened before. Red Cyber Dragon 29, thank you for the 5 gifted. It's literally never happened before to me. Any of a much higher viewer to chatter ratio? I think I probably do. I would suspect I do because I'm very interactive in comparison to other large content creators on this platform, especially at the top of the hour when I tell you that there's a 3-minute ad break coming. And then, I tell you that if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. Puffins of Doom, thank you for the 25, get the sub. 25 people are now allowed to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Now they can avoid that as well. Interactive KW, I mean, yeah, I am incredibly interactive because I'm literally fucking responding to chatters every single moment of this stream. That is not normal. That's abnormal. It's not even sustainable for the, mental health of the streamer. X Mixed Reviews X, thank you for the 5 gifted, allowing 30. Stop saying don't respond to this because I won't respond to it, even though I kind of did. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. IX Nay Udwe, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Chat is also comparatively more coherent than most. Low, if you use tools like Chit Chat, this chat is a lot less spam than, say, Force Center or XQC. Yeah, but like, I kind of like, in certain instances, I like the hive mind of XQC's chat. Like, they can be really funny. And Force Center's chat as well, even when they're creating memes. Like, hive minds can be good. You guys leaving? All right, I'll see you in a little bit. Damn, looking fucking dude, come show the fit off, dude. Get in here. Show this fucking fit off, brother. God damn, this guy is a fucking fashion icon. You gotta move a little bit. Yeah, there it is. Kaya is not even waking up to your... Yours is a kick in her cage.
Hello. Got to make up for the lack of exercise with a dress sense. I think that's the way it works.
What do you mean? You exercise your fucking ass off, brother. You exercise hard.
Oh shit! All right. We'll see
All right. All right. You there? Can you DM me the address of the place we're going to? All right. Thank you. But yeah, bye-bye to all the bots. Is that your lover? Those are my lovers, plural. Where are you going? We're going to a charity auction that Connor Dog Veterans Affairs Office is putting together. Yeah. Kai has been so quiet and chill these past couple streams is because she wore herself out. IDF is what we're raising money for, and we're not talking about Israel. Okay, it's immune deficiency. All right, let me just fucking finish this goddamn Brandon
Today,
statement.
I want to offer some guidance.
Talk
to
about
our nation's
affirmative action a
colleges
little bit.
as they review their admission systems after today's decision. Guidance that is consistent with today's decision.
I gotta pee. I'll be back.
They should not abandon, let me say this again, they should not abandon their commitment to ensure student bodies of diverse backgrounds and experience that reflect all of America. What I propose for consideration is a new standard, where colleges take into account the adversity a student has overcome when selecting among qualified applicants. Let's be clear, under this new standard, just as was true under the earlier standard, students first have to be qualified applicants. They need the GPA and test scores to meet the school's standards. Once that test is met, then adversity should be considered, including students' lack of financial means, because we know too few students of low-income families, whether in big cities or rural communities, are getting an opportunity to go to college. When a poor kid, maybe the first in their family to go to college, gets the same grades and test scores as a wealthy kid, whose whole family's gone to the most elite colleges in the country, and whose path has been a lot easier. Well, the kid who faced tougher challenges has demonstrated more grit, more determination, and that should be a factor that colleges should take into account in admissions, and many still do. It also means examining where the student grew up and went to high school. It means understanding the particular hardships that each individual student has faced in life, including racial discrimination that individuals have faced in their own lives. The court says, quote, nothing in this opinion should be construed as prohibiting universities from considering an application's discussion of how race has affected his or her life, but be it through discrimination or inspiration or otherwise, end of quote. Because the truth is, we all know it, discrimination still exists in America.
We all know it.
Discrimination still exists in America.
He is so bad at reading the teleprompter. Like, I don't know if it's the CPAP machine not hitting. I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things. Maybe it was one of those things where it's like, when you don't get a lot of sleep, you get used to like sleeping 4 hours a day. And then the one time you sleep like 8 hours a day, you've overslept and you're more tired. I think that's what's going on. He's like actually getting a good night's sleep for the first time in his fucking life, and it's just making him sound worse.
Discrimination still exists in America. Today's decision does not change that. It's a simple fact. If a student had to overcome adversity on their path to education, the college should recognize and value that. Our nation's colleges and universities should be engines of expanding opportunity through upward mobility. But today, too often, that's not the case. The statistics, one statistic, students from the top 1% of family incomes in America are 77 times more likely to get into elite college.
Damn, that's crazy.
From the bottom 20% of family incomes. 77% greater opportunity. Today, for too many schools, the only people who benefit from the system are the wealthy and the well-connected. The odds have been stacked against working people for much too long. We need a higher education system that works for everyone, from Appalachia to Atlanta and to far beyond. We can and must do better, and we will. Today, I'm directing the Department of Education to analyze what practices help build a more inclusive and diverse student bodies and what practices hold that back. Practices like legacy admissions and other systems that expand privilege instead of opportunity. Colleges and universities should continue their commitment to support, retain, and graduate diverse students and classes. You know, and companies who are already realizing the value of diversity should not use this decision as an excuse to turn away from diversity either. We can't go backwards. You know, I know today's court decision is a severe disappointment to so many people, including me. But we cannot let the decision be a permanent setback for the country. We need to keep an open door of opportunities. We need to remember that diversity is our strength. We have to find a way forward. We need to remember that the promise of America is big enough for everyone to succeed. You know, that's the work of my administration, and I'm always going to fight for that. And I want to thank you all. And I know you've been told I have a helicopter out there waiting to go up to do an interview in New York. I'll be talking more about this, a live interview. But thank you very much, and we're going to have plenty of time to talk about this. But we're not going to let this break us. Thank you.
President Biden, the Congressional Black Caucus said the Supreme Court has thrown into
Yeah, the Hasan Minhaj video on affirmative action is pretty good. I think it covers all the basis of like why it's stupid to like look at this as like a W for Asian Americans or whatever. Meanwhile, some of you dumb motherfuckers literally think you're going to get into better schools when you were just not even in the consideration because you're Asian. No, that's not the reason, okay? You're not in the consideration because you're not rich, okay? That's it. That's it. So you're dumb for thinking that this is like opening doors for you, okay? Dumb. Geraldo says he's heading for the World Trade Center while on a speeding boat after learning he was fired from Fox News. Okay, shut up. I don't care about that. This quite literally is a dereliction of duty. If you're a journalist and you fucking covered this story, like a group of Asian American students are suing Harvard, you're a fucking piece of shit. Because it wasn't a group of Asian Americans suing Harvard, okay? It was a group created by a white guy who used Asian Americans as fucking props suing Harvard, okay? That's it. It was a group led by white guys, created by white guys that was representing white people's interests, and they just decided, pretty good idea to fucking, utilize Asian people instead. Washington Post Scholar poll, do you favor, from October 2022, do you favor or oppose Supreme Court? All people favor, do you favor or oppose the Supreme Court banning colleges and universities from considering race and ethnicity in admissions? This is according to Steve Kornacki. 63% favor it. 66% of white people favor it. 47% of black people favor it. 60% of Hispanic people favor it. 65%